Inshallah, we will start now. Alhamdulillah, countless gratitude to Allah, the Lord of all the creations, that He has bestowed upon us this opportunity and ability to spend this time in His remembrance. Innumerable peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa Ahmad Mujtaba Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because of whom Allah's mercy is upon us. My dear and respected audience, Allah says in Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربنا وابعث فيهم رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياتك ويعلمهم الكتاب والحكمة ويزكيهم إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم صدق الله العظيم. O our Lord, send to them from amongst themselves a messenger who will read to them your signs, your verses, and will teach them the book and wisdom, and will cleanse them. Verily, you are all powerful, all wise. So this is the continuation and the culmination of the prayer of the dua that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam and Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam they both made when they were building the Kaaba, Baytullah. And so look at when they how did it all start? They started with that O Allah, accept this from us, our effort, and teach us the way to obey you. Then, O Allah, from amongst our children, O Allah, have mercy on us and make one group amongst our children who follow your path, who obey you, and forgive us. And then eventually, when everything is done, then they said, and O our Lord, send to them amongst themselves a messenger who reads your ayahs, your verses to them, and he teaches them two things, the book and the wisdom. And verily, you are all knowing, all powerful, all the wisest. You contain all the wisdom. So this is, you look nowhere, as we discussed before, Ibrahim alayhi salam or Ismail alayhi salam, they mentioned any of the trials and troubles that they went through. They did not say, oh Allah, do this because we did this for you, do this because we did this for you. They kept on saying, oh Allah, accept it from us whatever we have done and tell us the right way to follow you, to obey you. And eventually then they added their children to it. Oh Allah, do not let this thing die with us, but make amongst our children a group of people who keep on calling people to you. And then finally, they said, the most importantly, send somebody amongst them who teaches them your path, who teaches them your ayahs, your verses, and who teaches them the book and the wisdom and cleanses them. So the first thing is, Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he made the dua and his focus was on the obedience and pleasure of Allah. He did not say that, oh Allah, I have done so and so, so you reward me. But he kept his eye on the fact that a person, a human, can slip at any moment of time. Any good deeds that we do, We do because Allah enables us and He protects us and He gives us the ability to do those good deeds. We are nothing. Shaitan, he is so powerful. He took Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, our father, and Amma Hawa alayhi salam, our mother, both of them out of the paradise, out of the Jannah. It takes an instant of time, just a fraction of a second to slip. Till the last breath, we cannot be sure if we are going to die as a Muslim. Because Shaitan does not give up until the angel of death arrives. He has such a trickery sometimes a person and it's very tough. The time of death is very tough on everybody other than the shaheed, the people who die fighting in the path of Allah. Their time of death, it is like, because they start seeing the Jannah and everything, they don't feel anything. Other than them, other people, it is very tough. And the person is going through that pain, the shaitan sometimes come to people and say, okay, if you take me as your Rabb, if you start worshipping me, I'll take you out of this agony and pain. So even at that point, he comes and he tries to trick you and take you out of Islam. So nobody knows. So, and it's only the blessing and mercy of Allah that we, the humans, or any human, can be saved from that trick. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he, regardless of all the trials and tribulations that he went through, and these were not one, and it was not for 1 year or 10 years, all his life he went on going through one trial over another, over another, over another. But never in his prayers did he say, oh Allah, now I have done that. Now you do this to me. Now you give this to me. He kept on saying, oh Allah, keep teaching me the way that you like from me. Oh Allah, keep showing me the right path. Keep me and my children on your path. He never said, oh Allah, it's easy for me. I'll do it. Why do I have to worry about it? I'm so powerful. I'm so strong-willed. I can do it. I don't need anything. No. He kept his focus on the mercy of Allah. And there is a lesson for us. When Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he is asking for Allah's forgiveness and Allah's help and mercy in following his path. How can any of us not be asking for it? How can any of us be saying, oh, I did my namaz, I did my roza, I did this, I'm good. We need to keep on asking Allah for His forgiveness and for His help. Because if Allah leaves us in the hands of shaitan, there is nobody who can protect us from shaitan. Shaitan is very, very cunning. He is very, very devious, mischievous. He is the epitome of all the evil. He is the evil. So we need to keep on asking Allah. And then we do namaz, we do fast, we have the roza. But do we know that Allah accepted it? We don't know if Allah liked it or not. So that is why we need to keep praying whenever we remember. We need to keep asking Allah, oh Allah, give us the ability to obey you the way you like. Because this is important. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he is doing it, he said, he made the Kaaba and everything, and then he said, oh Allah, teach us the ways. Teach us the way to worship you. Teach us the way of Hajj. Teach us the way to respect this place so you can be happy on us. Remember, the purpose of life is to make Allah happy. There is no other purpose of our life. Why is it one of the greatest sin in Islam to commit suicide? Yes, because this life is Allah's gift to you. Only Allah has the right to take it away from you. You need to live as long as Allah wants you to live. You do not take this matter in your own hand. If Allah wants you to live, you live. And if Allah wants you to die, you die. That is obedience. And that is why people who die fighting in the path of Allah, their status is amongst the highest. Because they give up their life to please Allah. And that is the real Islam. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he kept on saying, "Oh Allah, tell us the way, tell us the path to worship you, to obey you, that you like, the way you like. And if we slip, if we make mistake," because Ibrahim alayhi salam, he knew that humans do slip, we make mistakes. So then he said, "Oh Allah, then forgive us." Not only him, but his children and everybody. "Oh Allah, then forgive us. We make mistakes. We know we are weak. We are not strong. We have our own desires that guide us, that destroy us. So, oh Allah, if we slip, then help us, forgive us, and bring us back." And this is when, then, as I said earlier, Jibreel alayhi salam, he came and he taught them the way of doing Hajj and Umrah and all those ibadah. Now, when everything was done, then Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he said, "No, the one thing, the most important thing," because he knew that people will stay on the right path, but then with time, they stray away from it. They go astray. They follow the wrong path. Shaitan captures their hearts and minds. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, then he knew that these people, my children, they will go awry. They will go on the wrong path. So, and this place, very place that I have created, me and my son, we have built to worship Allah, it will go in vain. All that effort will go in vain. So then he made the dua. He said, "Oh Allah, send them amongst them a messenger, the messenger, who teaches them your ayah, who reads to them your ayah, who teaches them two things, the book and the wisdom, and cleanses them." And this is a very, very comprehensive dua. Because remember, what is it saying? It's starting that he will recite unto them your ayah, your verses. So it tells us that recitation of Quran is one thing. Then وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ, and will teach them the book. It tells them us the knowledge of the book. Book Quran, book can be there is a book up in the heaven in which Allah has written everything that has to happen from the beginning of the day till the end. So that is also a book. It's called Lawh Mahfuz. Maybe that book. But whatever book, the knowledge of the book is the knowledge of Quran and knowledge of the Lawh Mahfuz, Allah. Maybe both, maybe one. But then another thing, wal hikmah, the wisdom. That the wisdom is something beyond the book. You read Quran, that is one thing. You understand the meanings of Quran, that is another thing. You understand when this ayah was revealed and everything, that is another thing. But then the hikmah, the wisdom, you extrapolate knowledge from it. You see the way the things are being created, the things work. That knowledge, that hikmah, that wisdom, it's a great blessing, and it also comes from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And wisdom, many of people in the world today, they have knowledge, but they don't have wisdom. Wisdom is not dependent upon the book, like the worldly book, of course on Quran, but the other reading and writing. You can be a wise person who does not know how to read and write. And many of the people who know how to read and write in the world, they don't have any wisdom at all whatsoever. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that I am the answer to that prayer of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. So when Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he made that dua, then Allah accepted his dua, and the way Allah accepted it, Allah made Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam amongst the children of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. So for a long, there is a long line. Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had two sons. Elder was Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam, the younger one was Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam. There is a long list of messengers and prophets from Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam. Hundreds, if not thousands of them. But there was no prophet or messenger from the children of Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam. And this dua Ibrahim alayhi salam made with Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam. So Allah kept on giving prophets and messenger after messenger, prophet after prophet to Hazrat Ishaq alayhi salam. But he kept the best of the best for Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam for thousands of years. There was no prophet, there was no messenger in Arabia. In Arabia there were, because depending on how you, Middle East actually, but in that area, in Makkah, in and around Makkah, there was no prophet and messenger. All the prophets used to come there to do the Hajj, because it was the order of Allah, but there was no prophet who was sent to the people of Makkah. And then after thousands of years, Allah sent Rasulullah and Allah sent the best of the prophets, the last of the messengers, the one for whom the whole universe is created. And Allah, this is how Allah accepted Hazrat Ibrahim and Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam's dua. So Allah, when He accepts somebody's dua, it does not happen like abracadabra. He chooses the time of when the effect of dua is going to be released and given. You may be sick and you say, oh Allah, give me health. He may elongate it for a year or 2 or 3 or whatever, and gives you the health when the time is the right time. So never give up just because it has taken too long. And I'm telling this to myself more than anybody else. We should never give up on Allah. We should never stop asking to Allah for the things that we like. But we should always say, oh Allah, if it is good for us, if it is good for me, give it to me. And if it is bad for me, give me something better than it. So Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah gave, because Allah made him his friend, Khalilullah. And it was his status, look at it around, that he left his wife and his child, infant child, in a place where there was nothing. And then he made the dua, oh Allah, bring from all around the world all the bounties to this place. And Allah accepted that dua. You go to Makkah, hardly you will see even a date tree, let alone anything else. There is pretty much nothing that grows there. But you find all sorts of food there. You get the milk and butter from Australia, New Zealand, the meats, the food, the fruits, the juices, everything you find there. From all around the world, things come there. It is a place that was not supposed to exist. Humanly, it's not possible. But Allah made it such a place, such a centerpiece, that ever since the Zamzam started, this city has been flourishing and expanding. Just because Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam made the dua for it. And then another aspect of the dua that we read today, that Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam, they both made the dua, oh Allah, send a messenger to them amongst them. Why that? There were two aspects of it, right? One aspect of it is that, okay, because they wanted their children to be given that status, that grace, that blessing, that they would have a messenger sent from them. And second one is because it has been Allah's way of doing it. He sends to people from amongst themselves somebody to teach them. He sends the human. Allah has never sent an angel to teach the humans his ways. He always sends a human. He has always sent a human. And then he sends them from within those people, because if somebody comes from outside, people may be reluctant to listening to them. Oh, why do we listen to you? You are somebody else. Why do we bow to you? How do we follow you? It's easier for people to follow one of themselves than following somebody else. And then Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam and Ismail alayhi salam, when they said, okay, and وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ, the teaching, that he teaches them the book and then the hikmah. And hikmah does not have any boundary. And the way Allah fulfilled it, He gave Rasulullah the book that encompasses all the knowledge on all the universe and whatever is there. In Quran, Allah has put everything in it. Whatever anybody can seek and try to find, it is in Quran. You just need to look in that. But for that, you need to have the hikmah. I will narrate to you a story, just because these days people know about Shaykhul Akbar Hazrat Ibn al-Arabi, Rahmatullah alayh. So, during about 100 years ago, there were few Christian monks. They came to India and they said, Quran claims that there is nothing that is dry or wet, but it is mentioned in Quran. We think it's a very exaggerated claim. And there is, so some of the Muslims, they said, oh, no, you know what, you got it wrong. Quran only tells, it is not about Quran. It is about the Lawh Mahfuz. Quran does not tell you everything that is in there. Some took that route. Others that believed that Quran is meaning this verse, Allah mentions Quran, they tried to look into Quran, but they could not find it. And they could not answer them. And then the two of the learned people of those times, they became very, very agitated and anxious about it. And they said, okay, let us start looking, has anybody told about these things before? So the monks, they said, okay, let alone everything. We just came out of the World War. It was World War I. Show us in Quran, where is the World War I mentioned in Quran, and we will believe in it, that your Quran is claiming its claim is true. So as I said, many said, oh no, Quran does not talk about it, you just got it wrong. But there were few who believed in it, that Allah is talking about Quran, that Quran has everything mentioned in it. They got very anxious and worried. So because they were learned people, they knew that they don't know everything. So they started looking, they said, okay, let's look at the books that older people have written for us. So there was this gentleman, a lawyer, in southern India. He had a big library, personal library, and he collected the books from all over the world to get in there. So they said, okay, let's start from there. They went there, they talked to him. He said, okay, go ahead, look at the books. He opened the library for them. And one of them, they said, like, okay, where do we start? Because it was a big, huge library with the translations and commentaries from various Muslim scholars. One of them said, okay, let's see what Ibn al-Arabi has said about anything. So they took out the tafsir, that commentary that Shaykh Ibn al-Arabi has written about Quran. And one of them, he just opened the book and it opened Suratul Mutaffifin. Wailul lil mutaffifin alladhina hum ala salatihim. So he just to check it, just to taste it, just to, he started reading it. And he went to the ayah where it says, it's very beginning in the surah, Innal fujara lafi jahim. It was either this one or Innal abrara lafi naim by Innal fujara lafi jahim. One of the ayahs. He went in there. And he started reading, and in the explanation of that ayah, Sheikh Abdul Arabi, he said, and he had some calculations in there based upon what his wisdom, and he said, this ayah is telling me that there will be a time when the whole world, then there will be a great war. Allah will enter many people into the hellfire, and He will send many people to the paradise as part of that war. The year will be 1918, and at that time the Christians will be the dominant power of the world. And Sheikh Ibn al-Arabi, he had gone past like 600 years ago. So they looked at it and they were astonished that somebody hundreds of years ago mentioned by translating Quran that their time will come where there will be a great war, and it will be that this year in the Christian calendar, and it will be the Christians will be the dominant power during that time. And this is exactly what happened. At the beginning of that time, there was one superpower, which was Ottoman Empire, and during that war, the Ottoman Empire got destroyed, and the Christian superpowers arose. America and USSR. USSR was not Christian, but mainly the Britain and France and all the European. It was the start of the European dominance. So this is the wisdom, and this wisdom is contained in Quran, in that book. But people cannot. It needs a teacher. It needs a link to Rasulullah to extract and extrapolate that knowledge and that wisdom. And it comes after somebody masters the things that are written in the book. So that is the next step. And as Ibrahim alayhis salam in his dua, he asked to Allah for the ilm and hikmah, and he did not put any boundary. He said, give them all. Send a teacher who teaches them all and everything. And that is what Allah accepted and sent Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, even if somebody knows it, you can know everything right and everything good in the world and still not do good and still not do right. Knowing is different than doing. It's a lot different and a lot tougher. Just to give you an example, it's a story that a king, he asked a fortune teller or seer that, oh, teach my son the art, your knowledge, so he can be a fortune teller. He can know what is going to happen. So that foreseer, he taught all his knowledge to the prince and brought him towards the king and said, I have taught him everything I knew. So now I deserve reward. Please reward me. I have done my part. And he was expecting a reward from the king. The king said, okay, tomorrow I will test your pupil, my son, and see how good a job you have done. And then we'll talk about your reward. So next day, when all his courtiers, the court was set, the foreseer came and he brought the prince with him. Then the king, he put something in his hands and said, oh my son, tell me, what do I have in my hand? The prince, he ran his calculations and everything that he was taught, and he said, you have something of stone, something like a stone in your hand. Then the king said, I have asked it what it is, not what it is made of. So the prince, he then again did some calculation. He said, it is something that has holes in it, or a hole in it. But then the king said, tell me what it is. And then the prince, he did extrapolate it, and he said, I think It is a grinding stone. Now the grinding stone is generally like this big. It has a hole and it is made up of stone. So he said, I think it's a grinding stone, and he was holding it in his hand. So, but the king opened his hand, and he had what is called a ring of stone in his hand. He said to the fourth year, he said, you taught him everything you knew. He reached to the point that there is something made of stone in my hand. He reached to the point that that thing has a hole in it. But he did not have the wisdom to see, like, how can a grinding stone which is this big fit into my hand? And he said, oh, it seems to be a grinding stone. You did not teach him the wisdom. Because there were two things. One was small that could have fit into the hand, and other could not. But he did not have the wisdom to say, okay, it can be a ring of made of stone. But he said, oh, it seems to be a grinding stone because the grinding stone is made of stone, and it has a hole in it. So that is the difference. So the knowledge without wisdom is nothing. There are tons of people in the world, before us, amongst us, after us they will come, and may Allah not make us amongst those who know the right thing but do not do the right thing, who sell the words of Allah, the ayahs of Allah, for titsy bit, little bit of money, who change the verdicts of Allah to please the people in power, to please the wealthy, to accumulate wealth, to accumulate power. So this is wisdom, this is hikmah. To not only know but believe, and then be able to extrapolate knowledge and the reasons behind things. Everybody looks on the sky, but Allah says in Quran, there are few people who look in the sky and look at the stars and say, oh Allah, you have not created them without a purpose. What is the purpose of the stars? They ponder upon it, and Allah likes those people. Allah likes people who look into things and say, Allah has created it. Why did Allah create it? How did Allah create it? What is the benefit? How does this thing fit into the whole ecosystem? Allah likes it. That is wisdom. And then trace it back to Allah. That is wisdom. Just reading about something, oh, this is, everybody breathes. Okay. Why did Allah make everybody breathe? What is the thing behind it? Just think about it. That is wisdom. And then the final thing, وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ, and He cleanses them. You can have the best of something and you throw it in a gutter. You wasted it. You throw it into a sewer pipe. It's gone. Right? A thing is good as long as it's kept clean. It's kept at the right place in the right manner. The cleansing is very important. Cleansing of heart and mind is the most important thing. Why do we follow shaitan? Because he corrupts our hearts and minds. He puts the filth of our own selfish desires in them. Cleanliness is the purity of heart and mind. There is one visible cleanliness, like the cleanliness of our clothes. We like to keep our clothes clean. Because if my cloth is dirty, it has something bad on it, a body of an animal, I would not like it, because my heart does not like it. Right? Same thing is with our heart. Our heart needs to be clean as well. Our mind needs to be clean as well. And that cleanliness comes by what? It comes by admitting and submitting to Allah. By admitting to His authority and submitting to His authority. And for the whole mankind, Rasulullah ﷺ is the teacher who taught us what is the difference between cleanliness and dirtiness and filth. Rasulullah ﷺ, he was a very clean person. From in his external appearance and as well as in his internal dealings. He is the cleanest of all in all the aspects. He would wear, his clothes were old but not dirty. There is a difference. His clothes were very rarely new clothes. He used to wear clothes that had stitches in them. But they were always clean, without dirt. He would put perfume. He loved perfume. He loved being smelled good. He would comb his hair. He would brush his teeth. Pretty much before every salah, every prayer, before doing wudu, he would brush his teeth. He would cut his nail. He liked things being clean and tidy. He liked things to be done in a good order, in a good manner. And that is what he taught us, to be clean from external perspective as well as from the internal perspective. So now that Allah accepted this, but another lesson that we get from this, that Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam made the dua. Allah accepted the dua, and then Allah sent us a messenger, a teacher, and that messenger and teacher is Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So now anybody who wants to reach the path of Allah has to go through Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has to follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has to obey Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There is no other way. There is no other way of doing it. A person can know all the knowledge in the world. A person can put on the newest clothes all his life or her life. But as long as they are not associated with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, none of it matters. It will all be in vain. Their knowledge will not benefit them. Their cleanliness will not benefit them. Their wealth will not benefit them. Their health will not benefit them. And the only thing that will benefit us in this world and in the hereafter is following Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let me tell you one thing. If you start becoming like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, following his sunnah, following his path, even either in appearance or in spirit, people will start liking you. The more you become like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the more people will start getting attracted towards you. The good-natured people, and the bad-natured people, they will start hating you right away. Being like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is being the best you can be. Hazrat Abdullah ibn Masud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he was a goat herder, and then he became such a great scholar that we do prayer following the way he prayed. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, learn from him your deen. Hazrat Umar radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu, at one time his domain was the largest in the whole world. His was the vastest empire in the whole world. He was ruling, he was the greatest king of the time. And once he heard that the people are coming, the armies are coming after the conquest, so he went ahead to receive them. And he reached a place and he started crying. And the Muslims, they asked, Ya Amir al-Mu'minin, why are you crying? He said, when I was young, my father would send me to herd the goats and sheep, and I was not able to take care of them, and they would run away, or the wolf will come and eat them up, and my father will tie me with this tree and beat me up because I was not able and capable of taking care of herds of my sheep. And now that I became a servant of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I followed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, today I am the greatest king in the world. And the two greatest empires of the time, they came under my domain. the Sassanids, and the Roman Empire. So the key to the message is, or the key message is, we all need to be associating ourselves with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, with his nisbat, with his love. We, the purpose of our lives is to follow Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in form and in spirit. I cannot say I love Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and I don't do namaz. Because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, namaz is the light, is the uh, yeah, it is. If I can translate it, it's the peace of my eyes. You know, it makes my eyes feel good. So we cannot. There are two things. One is we need to absolutely, absolutely love Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam more than anything about in our lives, including our own lives. And then we need to spend our lives being like Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, doing what he wants us to do, what he taught us to do. In today's world, there are many things that we see and then say, oh, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us, but oh, this is not the right thing. This word today, it's not the right word. You cannot say these things. These are not quote unquote politically correct. But remember, the truth stays with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Whatever Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said and taught to us is what is truth. Everything else is made up morals which will go and disappear one day or another. We don't have to fight people about it, but within ourselves we need to believe in it and act accordingly, that whatever Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has taught us and told us, that is the right thing. We may have aspirations, we may have desires, we may have plans contrary to that, but those plans, those desires, those aspirations will destroy us, will eventually take us out of the bound of Islam and will destroy us and put us into the hellfire. So if we find something that Rasulullah has told us which is contrary to our desires and our goals and our ambitions, our job is to tell ourselves that, okay, you know what, Rasulullah knows better, so I am not going to follow this ambition, this goal, this desire. I would rather follow something which Rasulullah has taught me to. This is what Nisbat-e-Rasooli is all about. That there is no desire, there is no love, there is nothing that stands between us and Rasulullah. Whatever Rasulullah likes is what we like. Whatever Rasulullah does not like is what we do not like. So this is the acquiring this nisbat, achieving this state where our lives and our deaths are focused on being like Rasulullah and in doing so pleasing Allah. That is the purpose of our meetings. And with this focus, with this intention, inshallah we will start and we will call upon Allah that He gives us the ability and guides us on the path so that we become like Rasulullah. We become people that Rasulullah wants us to be. So with this focus and this intention, we will all start. Say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Kalma Tawheed La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Kalma Tamjeed. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. Durood Sharif Ibrahimi Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. سيد الاستغفار أستغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه. आयत करीमा ला इलाहा इल्ला अंता सुब्हानका इन्नी कुन्तु मिनज़ ज़ालिमीन। सूरह फातिहा अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह दीन इय्याका नअबुदु व इय्याका नस्तईन इहदिनस सिरातल मुस्तकीम सिरातल लज़ीना अनअमता अलैहिम गैरिल मग़दूबि अलैहिम वलद्दाल्लीन। सूरह इखलास कुल हुवल्लाहु अहद अल्लाहुस समद लम यलिद व लम यूलद व लम यकुल लहू कुफुवन अहद। आयतुल कुर्सी अल्लाहु ला इलाहा इल्ला हुवल हय्युल क़य्यूम ला ताख़ुज़ुहु सिनतुन व ला नौम लहू मा फ़िस समावाति व मा फ़िल अर्ज़ मन ज़ल्लज़ी यशफ़अउ इन्दहु इल्ला बिइज़्निही यअलमु मा बैना अयदीहिम व मा ख़ल्फ़हुम व ला युहीतूना बिशैइन मिन इल्मिही इल्ला बिमा शाअ वसिअ कुर्सियुहुस समावाति वल अर्ज़ व ला यऊदुहु हिफ़्ज़ुहुमा व हुवल अलिय्युल अज़ीम। الله الحسيب الله الحسيب الله الحسيب. لطيف لطيف. يا مجيب السميع يا مجيب السميع يا مجيب. يا وهاب يا وهاب يا وهاب. يا بارئ يا قابض يا قابض. يا علي العظيم يا علي العظيم. Hmm. Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum, Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum. Ya Zul Jalali wal Ikram, Ya Zul Jalali wal Ikram. Ya Hannanu, Ya Mannanu, Ya Hannanu, Ya Man. Ya Ghafuru Ya Rahim, Ya Ghafuru Ya Rahim. Ya Ya Jawwadu Ya Kareem, Ya Jawwadu Ya Kareem. Ya Allamul Ghuyub. Ya Wadudu Ya Atufu, Ya Wadudu Ya Atufu. Ya Baqiyu, Ya Baqiyu. Ya Ya Basitu, Ya Basitu, Ya Basitu. Ya Ya Kabir Al Mutaal, Ya Kabir Al Mutaal. Ya Salamun Qalam min Rabbir Rahim. Salamun Qalam min Rabbir. يا بديع العجائب بالخير. يا بديع العجائب بالخير. يا أرحم الراحمين. يا أرحم الراحمين. يا الله يا رحمن. يا الله يا رحمن. Salatul Khawf. Those of you who do not know this Durood Sharif and cannot read from the screen, they recite whichever Durood Sharif they know. This Durood Sharif is Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi salatan takunu lana amanam min kulli khawf. So recite Surah Fatiha one time and make dua. Please make dua that Allah keeps us all safe from this pandemic. We are all one family and may Allah keep each and every member of this family safe from this pandemic and any other trial and tribulation. Amen. Sallallahu Muhammad. La ilaha illallah. Muhammad Rasul. Alhamdulillah, inshallah. Next month. I hope we meet next month in person. May Allah keep us all safe, healthy, and happy till we meet again. May Allah keep us all in His protection.